Hello, everyone. We are looking to start now. I'm so grateful to have all of you here with us today.
Hello.
Um, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's great to be here. Everybody feel free to have your cameras on or not on as you prefer. My name is Stacy. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Hanali, for holding down the fort and being here to facilitate this wonderful discussion. As I said, my pronouns are she and her, and I have a white kind of I don't know, what would you call this, Sonali? What kind of background would you call this? I don't know,
Let's say
floral?
white patterned.
A white patterned background behind me. I've got salt and pepper hair. I'm a white woman wearing a blue flowered shirt. I'm happy to be here. There is a live caption feature that is enabled, so you can start that if you would like. Um, the discussion is going to begin now. If you can't see me, you may want to, if you're on your phone, it may require you to swipe left or right to get me on screen. If you're having problems with that, feel free to type into the chat that you're having problems with seeing us, and we will see what we can do. In the meantime, I want to let you know that at Inform Your Community, we offer events that combine information with fun. And we find that the best way to talk about difficult topics is to talk about difficult topics. So we're here today to have a discussion about gun safety. You can find our social media links on the bottom of our website, and feel free to tell your friends to sign up for our mailing list. And of course, we also always welcome donations to help keep our events free. We want to remind you that we're not experts here on this topic. What we do at Inform Your Communities, we talk about the entry level about any variety of topics. And so there are plenty of resources out there to help if you want some more in-depth conversation or knowledge. But we're here today to talk about this gun safety topic and this movie. Clearly, this is an important topic. For example, just in 2003, in the first half of 2003, there were more mass shootings than number of days that had passed in the year. So that's how important this topic is to talk about. And this movie that we're choosing to talk about it through is Bowling for Columbine. It's been a long time since this movie was out there, and so we're happy to kind of revisit it and see where we are. So to help us understand this topic further, and without further ado, I want to introduce you to Hanali, who will be our co-facilitator. She's also our popcorn and chat director here at Inform Your Community. So Hanali, so grateful to have you here to help us with this important discussion.
Thank you, Stacy. Good evening, everyone. My name is Hanali, and I'm the program director, like Stacy said. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am an Indian woman. I'm currently wearing a gray top. I have a gray background. And yeah, and I have black hair, black eyes, and and so without further ado, let's get started. And feel free to unmute yourself during our discussion and leave any comments. If you feel more comfortable putting it in the chat box, please do so. We are always actively monitoring that as well. And use the hand raise icon if you feel comfortable, if you don't feel comfortable jumping in. And I hope everyone enjoyed the movie Bowling for Columbine. And the topic on gun safety is very, very, very important to discuss. As we know, as of 2019, gun violence is the leading cause of child mortality in ages 1 to 19 years, and it's beating vehicle fatalities. And only 14% of people who live with the gun owner have been trained to safely use those firearms. So with that, what does gun safety mean to your understanding?
I think you got to learn to use it properly sometimes, and to think about why you need to use a gun, and learn to use it properly. That's what I thought. I mean, I'm from Australia, so Americans maybe they don't have the strict gun laws that we have here in Australia. It all started in 96. Martin Bryant, I think he was autistic or something. And yes, that's pretty much what I thought gun safety is about. That's my, I mean, and gun, but this is more like gun control. It's not actually gun safety, it's gun control. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I think we also have a
We had Martin Bryant. I mean, I don't live in Tasmania, but he shot up a lot of people in Tasmania. I just said, but I mean, he could, even if he didn't have a gun, he could have if he really wanted to kill someone, he could have killed a lot of other people some other way. I mean, where do you end?
That's very true.
And by the way, there is a comment in the chat. Michelle mentioned that.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you for the contribution. Michelle added that from Michelle's perspective, being able to, so gun safety is being able to use a gun and safeguard a gun from killing someone else or someone else accidentally. And then added an important a comment to you, Colleen, an important point and observation, and that she appreciates your sharing your comment.
I mean, that's just a different point of view. I mean, I don't condone shooting a lot of people either myself, but I don't think law-abiding gun owners should be penalised. It shouldn't be harder for everyone to get one just because of one or two people. I don't know. I mean, that's just my side of the argument. Yeah. I mean, I don't own a gun. I've never felt compelled to shoot anyone. So, I mean, if I can resolve it for some other way, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, if my life was on the line, what's going to happen? I can't always rely on the police.
Yeah.
I think that, I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. My name is Angel. I think gun safety means understanding what a gun and a firearm is, and why it's used and how to properly use it, having that understanding. I have a background in forensic medicine, so I had to learn about firearms and weaponry and all that stuff, and why, again, like why it's being used. The film was a lot to take in, so I'm still like trying to wrap my head around everything, because like in '99 I was on my way into like kindergarten, so like I can't really remember Columbine as well, but yeah, it's a lot to take in. So
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
you're welcome.
And the movie represents, in its a variety of ways, including training, national firearms check, that is background checks, and laws. And the movie didn't specifically mention a lot of laws, but there are some, like the following that I'm about to mention. There's one that is the Gun Control Act of 1968, which is an example of this that is regulated interstate and foreign commerce for firearms. And there's another one, it's called the Brady Law in 1994, which deals with background checks and waiting periods. And then there's a more recent one, which is the Partisan 2022 Safer Communities Act, which was passed and considered a red flag law that seeks to take away gun access from those who might be deemed a danger. So those are some important laws that I think are around gun control topic. So I guess, oh, I see someone's put something in the chat box. Would you share? Yeah, of course. I will put that in the chat box. And so
I can do that. I can
Okay.
put that in the chat. Yeah.
Thank you, Stacy. And then Deborah mentioned dangerous people making guns on 3D machines. Yes. And so what are your opinions on how gun safety was portrayed in the movie?
You
It
definitely
sounded very anti-gun.
I'm sorry.
Anti-gun.
You definitely saw like the difference between the United States and Canada and how they viewed guns and how we view weapons and everything. And it was just very interesting, and how the NRA would pop out then and again when something, horrible would happen, and they would have their rallies. It was just, again, I can't wrap my head around it. It was just a different contrast between the United States and Canada, which I thought was interesting.
And somebody put in the chat that they didn't see. If you had a problem seeing the movie, by the way, you can hang on after we're done with the discussion, and we can maybe guide you through how to see it. But somebody else said that the documentary was saying so much. There was definitely a lot to that documentary. Somebody also said that they did not see the emphasis of that, and I think that was in response maybe to the 3D guns, but I'm not sure. So if you want to clarify, Michelle, what you were referring to, I'll be happy to share that.
And safety,
yeah.
the gun safety aspect.
Oh, yeah. Do you mean in the movie that there wasn't a lot of emphasis on the gun safety?
To me, based on what I, I'm open if anybody.
Yeah, there. I can.
That.
What did for me? I'll just say that for me, there was definitely a lot to the movie, and a lot of it was about the various things that impact gun safety, which I thought was like, I think the second half of the movie was all about various things that could also play a factor in why people use guns and how people use guns and things like that. They did have, I remember in the beginning, they talked about the groups that they meet together so that they can train themselves on how to use it. So that was one piece that they talked about, how there's these like community groups. Somebody said, I didn't get to watch the whole movie, but I did watch it a while back. It's sad how it's all fear-based news coverage. I actually thought that was pretty interesting, that the comments that we've had so far have been, not about like guns are the worst thing in the world, but a little bit more kind of, just use them safely is at least what I heard from the discussion so far. And then I've got another comment. You folks can also feel free to say anything that's on your mind as well. And Michelle, I appreciate you saying that and clarifying what you were talking about. And of course, but I'm going to get to these comments that are in here. To get back to Hanali's question, though, did anybody else see, and Michelle's really is, how was gun safety represented in the movie? And we'll read in the comments. Oh, one of the other things they talked about is when he went to was it a Kmart?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And right. And then it was like the availability of the ammunition is that's about safety, right? Like,
Never seen that in an Australian Kmart. So I don't know, maybe it's only in American.
It was too accessible. Like you could just go into the Kmart and get, projectiles. It was crazy. I was like, wow.
And Colleen, you said they don't sell them in the Australian Walmart?
Not here in Australia, no. I think the only places I've seen guns being sold is like all these army supplies and those those people pawn shops where they will hawk expensive items and things like that. But that's the only time I've seen weapons being stocked. I've never actually been into a gun store myself. That's what I'm trying to say. It's only been stocked in like army disposal stores and places like that. Maybe there's some specialty shops out there, but I've never I've never seen too many gun shops here in Australia. I'm sure they exist, but it's been a long time since I've last seen them.
And actually in the movie they showed that Kmart, I think it was Kmart, they stopped selling them. Janice says yes, Walmart, and I think Dick's Sporting Goods. So Walmart still sells them, it sounds like. But in the movie, Kmart seemed to say that they don't sell them more. I haven't checked if that's still true. Somebody said, let's see. Oh, and they were talking about the kids playing with fake guns. So somebody mentioned, do you think children 1, 2, and age 5 play with fake guns is a good idea? It can be dangerous. And I think that's one of the things that the movie shows too is I think he talks about what in his youth and how real those guns sounded when he was young. Is another thing, is having children have real like guns is not probably such a safe idea. Hanali just put in, thank you, Hanali. I didn't get a chance to do it. Hanali just put in those 3 laws that she had mentioned earlier. And then Janet clarified she doesn't know if now Walmart has it in there, but they that they've seen it, so that she's seen it pre-pandemic. Also, apparently Michelle has got a good point. Kmart's gone out of business in New York City over 10 years. I guess I'm showing my age, Michelle. Hanali, did you want to say anything else about I'm going to keep looking and see if I've got.
I mean, I thought it was interesting in the beginning of the movie when they were giving out guns at the bank. That was
Yeah,
crazy
so
to me.
interesting. I'm like, you can get your banking done and a gun at the same time. Wow, that's too easy.
Yeah. So that was I don't know, that was that's what caught my attention in the beginning of the movie. But everybody mentioned great points. And the movie talks about how laws and practices related to gun are they vary from state and country. And I think we just mentioned too. And in US, of the 10 states with the highest murder rates by gun violence, 8 are considered red states. And the movie makes the point that countries with tougher gun control laws have less gun-related fatalities. So in US, this also is the case. California, Connecticut, Hawaii, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, and Rhode Island are all within the top 10 states with the strongest gun control laws and the top 10 states with the lowest gun death rates. So that was, I think, was interesting to me. And this was a popular movie in its time, and in 2003 won the best documentary. Some of you may have found this to be a very powerful movie. I thought it was interesting to see the perspective of the different values associated with the guns, such as sense of security, self-sufficiency, and in some cases, a need for power or control, among other reasons. Why do you find this movie powerful?
I think myself as a female, if I had the misfortune of living in a crime-ridden area, I know it's not quite as bad here in Australia, but some people say if there's a lot of gangs and things like that, and I'm a female and I'm by myself, and I was going to get robbed, say for instance, if I had to work by myself at a overnight what's those the gas station or petrol station or wherever, and someone were to hold me at gunpoint, I wouldn't be able to fight back. So so maybe I'm wrong, but it's like, how do I fight back? Some people will say the guns are the equalizers, or if I was about to get raped or something like that. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
I think
I don't know. I mean, I don't know too many people that own them, but I've known people that have worked for the military or the police and things. And I don't know. I mean, they were pretty wacky people. Maybe because they've worked for them or something, and they've had to deal with a lot of that stuff. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just another perspective. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
I think Angel was going to share something also.
Yes, I'm sorry. I think what makes this movie so powerful is that it still rings true to what's going on today in our society. And if not, when was this movie released? In 99?
I believe so, but I can.
Okay.
2003, 2003.
Oh,
Okay.
2003. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Things have gotten worse. And, nothing has really, I think, in my opinion, has changed. It's gotten worse. We've had more school shootings since then, but it's just like I looked at the film and I went, this is still happening today. And it's making me bring up questions in my mind. Is like, how do we stop the gun violence here in America? You know what I mean? And gun violence is, it's not about politics. It's about the people. And how do we stop it? And how do we keep these kids from dying? And how do we get the guns out of the hands of people that don't need a gun, because it's ridiculous. But it just makes it so powerful. And I'm just thinking of ways that I can be a part of the solution and not the problem. So that's what makes this movie so powerful.
That's a beautiful point. A beautiful point. By the way, to your point, Deborah put in the chat that five vehicles shot at, and I may be a little confused here about what this says, but 5 vehicles shot at, killing 1 passenger on 5 freeway in Boyle Heights, California, east of downtown LA before this started. So I think that's like literally before this event started, there was a shooting. So just to tell you kind of how, what you said, this kind of the gun violence is out there, right? And still the movie's pertinent today. Great point. Great point.
Yeah. And I think Michelle just said in the chat, it's not providing no hope, in my opinion, that there is an end in sight with gun violence in the US. And Jenna said, it's ridiculous, makes me think of the guy in Kentucky a month ago.
And
The
I've
guy
got to
in
look that
Kentucky.
could you tell us more? Was that a school shooting or a mass shooting or fan? I just don't remember. And that's kind of the one of the things that's happened since Columbine. Everybody knew Columbine because it was the incident like this that had happened. And now I remember looking up some of the some things related to what we were talking about today, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that one. Oh yeah, and there was that other one too. There's so many on our minds these days. So yeah, so feel free to share if you have even a link to that Kentucky one. I'll try to look it up and find it.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to make one other point. Let me say,
Yeah.
I was in my freshman year of college, and I was in Connecticut at the time, and I was an hour away from the Sandy Hook shooting. So, we've lived, depending on how old you are, if you live in the States, if you live elsewhere, but if you live in the States, you've seen a lot, and it's just so overwhelming. And again, it's just like, how do we, come together? We put all our egos to the side and come together and resolve this gun violence in America. Just a lot.
Scary. We had a couple of shootings here in Tennessee as well in schools, and it's scary to see that little kids, are there's, I don't know if it's security or if it's just, I don't know what it is, but something needs to be changed. And I think that's just, it comes from just, I guess, starting with just informing everybody and everybody being knowledgeable, trained, and just knowing proper usage, and just everybody coming together and knowing the safety behind gun usage and everything. I think Jenna just put in the link to the Kentucky shooter if anybody's interested in checking that out.
Thank you for sharing that. There's also another couple of comments in here. I know earlier some folks talked about how it's like this vicious cycle, and then other folks talked about the fear that all the media attention is very fear-based about it, and so that kind of feeds into what everybody's talking about as well. As if on the one hand we all seem very kind of rational talking about this right now, right? Like there's guns and then there's safety about guns, right? And we training and all of these things seem very rational. And then there's this like fear-based media coverage that the movie talks about, right? That takes it to this other kind of level entirely. And then it gets political and you know, all that. So did we have another comment in here? I also sadly want to add there was a mass shooting 4 blocks away in my neighborhood on June 3rd, 2023. 9 people shot, 8 killed. I'm so sorry to hear about that, Jana. That's awful. That's obviously incredibly awful. And
Yeah.
Michelle also said, thanks for sharing what you shared as well. Yes. Okay. So take us further, Hanali.
Yeah. And I think Michelle did mention in the chat the vicarious trauma is real, and it seems to have contributed to the normalization of gun violence and numbness. And I think I've seen that around me as well, where everybody, anytime you hear, oh, there was a shooting wherever, it's not as shocking or, oh my God, new news. It's kind of like, oh, okay, like again. So it's become so numb to everybody that it's so sad that, you know, it has to be that way. But so, how do you think, as a community, we can help others to understand and ensure gun safety?
I know Hanali, somehow not a lot of people have anything to say right now.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
mean,
what was the question? I'm sorry.
yeah, the question is, how do you think, as a community, we can help others to understand and ensure gun safety?
I think, you know, I'm going to say this with everything. It starts with education, you know, educating people on levels that they can understand. Because yeah, that's definitely important.
Great point.
And then, yeah, and same thing, Michelle said education and discussion ongoing, which what you all are doing now, making the space. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, and then one idea is to speak with a veteran to hear their experience with guns, if they are comfortable sharing, and then maybe considering getting more involved to help ensure guns are used safely. Volunteer with organizations promoting sensible gun ownership. Attend additional gun safety training if you own a gun. Encourage others to become trained in how to use or store gun safety. So just some of the few things. And then another idea is to read and learn about the rules associated with gun ownership, including educating ourselves on different terms like gun violence restraining orders, the castle doctrine, and stand your ground, or what an assault rifle is versus other types of weapons. And then learning about the open carry and concealed carry laws, which are very dependent on where you live. So just understanding those and just knowing everything you can about it, as much as you can about it, is very helpful. I think
and somebody puts a few things in the chat. Education, and also there's groups in Philly and Reading, Pennsylvania. This is Jana mentioning it, who are developing programs to get kids to learn more about negotiation skills. So it's really interesting. I remember, and this is, I don't know, maybe too much of a tangent, too much of personal information, but I remember when I was young, I had a bully, and just the bully happened to live on my block, although we went to school together, kind of farther away. But I remember walking home, and the bully tried to pick a fight with me, and the person couldn't get my name right. So they were kind of like Anastasia and whatever your name is, and you know, tried to like puff themselves up. And I said, like, why do you not like me? You don't even know my name. Like how what have I done to get you to not like me when you don't even know me well enough to know how to say my name? And literally she was just like, okay, I'm gonna go now. Like she didn't know what to say. It just completely kind of diffused the situation. And I certainly wasn't an expert in negotiation, but just know, you know, being trained on that, like Jana says, is really just a very powerful tool. And we get trained on so many other things that could end in our death. I mean, horribly. So why not also get trained in kind of conflict resolution? Michelle says conflict resolution, mediation skills throughout all stages of development in schools and institutions lifelong. And then Michelle also adds an emotional intelligence. By the way, to give a plug to inform your community, we are doing another event on emotional intelligence later this year. So check out sorry, I had to give the plug in there, Hanali. I had to. We're doing an event on emotional intelligence later
Would love
this year.
to see everybody there.
I've put my name down for that too, or I am putting my name down.
Please do, please do. But really, it sounds like what's being said in the chat is like, you know, all the options for, you know, that involve discussing things. You know, regardless of whether the guns are there or not, like just telling people how to communicate is important.
Yes, sure. Does anybody want to add anything before we try to conclude the discussion?
And then I also think, just to add one more point, that there needs to be more conversations with law enforcement in the communities and their usage of guns and gun safety, and maybe having law enforcement, police talking to students and educating them on how to properly use guns and gun safety.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Sure.
Great, yeah. I'm looking through the chat to see if there's any more final things here. Emotional intelligence, self-awareness is key. Somebody said, and just a nod to post-traumatic stress from for those of you who have experienced this and dealing with that as well. So having the coping skills available for folks who have to deal with that is so important. So just a nod to those of you who put that in the chat as well. And the law enforcement point is really well taken. Somebody mentioned, Jana mentioned another good documentary to check out, which is called Trigger. I have not seen that myself. It's about gun violence in Philly and how young men are meeting and taking. I'm sorry, what was that?
I've heard of it. I've heard the name. The name
You've
rings a bell.
You've heard of it. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I haven't heard of it either, but that sounds interesting. I'll have to check that one out. And then a first degree, especially in psychology. So getting a psychology degree. And actually, there's a lot now. There's different kind of community policing efforts, which is another topic we've talked about at Inform Your Community, but efforts to get more people involved in the policing process. So folks who are kind of trained on the psychology of things to assist in the police. Somebody said, how to watch the movie. We're going to talk about that. I think you meant this movie. Go to a gun range. Great working with police department at a gun range. And I'm not sure, no guys on here. Oh, no men in the chat. I mean, not in the chat. I don't know if there's men on the call, but that's interesting if there aren't.
Oh, there's someone called Keith.
That's a really interesting observation.
Two people called Keith Pennington.
I'm so sorry, Colleen. What was that?
Two people called Keith Pennington.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a couple
people. We do have.
Yeah.
There may be some folks on the chat, so I don't want to call you out.
And I'm not too sure about Shane, because Shane could be either a male or a female.
But yeah, so interesting if there is a gender slant there, and I think there is I'm not sure actually, so I don't want to say that, but it'd be interesting to look up the gendered nature of these of like the school shootings and things like that. And I by the way, I just want to say that I really appreciate that the conversation isn't just about school shootings, but about other types of crimes in general that involve guns and so forth. So and there's a thing about the Dickey Amendment. We'll have to look that up. And then Michelle being very kind to say, Dan, I wish to thank you for your generosity in sharing resources and your insights. So without further ado, and there's Jenna's putting some more stuff in here. Shane confirmed that she's here and thankful for the documentary recommendations. So feel free to keep throwing those in the chat. Hanali, do you think we're ready to
Yeah.
It's always such a short conversation after the movie because, you know, the movies last so long, but the movies cover so very much. And it really is just to get us started about conversation. Yeah, Michelle.
Quickly,
Yeah, please.
we also need to also factor in the gun violence that is definitely pervasive with the police, you know, and their inability to be able to really de-escalate things without it reaching to that, especially with people of color, the disproportionate disparity with that.
It's an excellent point. By the way, Jana posted in here. So thank you for sharing that, Michelle. Jana posted no federal funds to research gun violence, which is obviously also problematic. Yes, and we do a community policing event and inform your community. I mentioned that one. We did a Black Lives Matter event as well, where that's one of the topics that most certainly came up in that discussion. As well, and it goes to the importance of that kind of training once again. And interesting, the training is not just about training people to use guns, but training how to diffuse situations, and actually de-escalation is one of the values that we put. When you see our infographic, it's one of the values we've included on the infographic, the importance of de-escalation in conflicts. Yeah, excellent point. So I will take it away from here, actually. Thank you for joining us for this film, Bowling for Columbine. Please feel free to continue to put some stuff in the chat. Thank you so much for being a part of our virtual discussion, whether you contributed or you're listening. We're so glad that you are here. Again, if you have anything else to add,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Colleen, for giving us your contributions as well.
I'm from Australia. I don't know if anybody else is from any other country apart from America, but I'm definitely from Australia, so we've got a different situation where we are.
Thank you so much, Colleen. And it was talked about in the movie that the contrast between Australia and the United States. So it's so grateful to have you on the call. We do occasionally get folks from other countries on our call, so I'm glad to have you here. And by the way, if you want to put a shout out to where you are in the chat, feel free. I'm sure we'd all be curious. So this topic of gun safety, just like all of our topics are at Inform Your Community. We don't treat these as one and done topics. We've discussed it and we've given you all the information you needed. Instead, these are always continuing conversations, and we see this discussion as just a start of being able to kind of, just like Angel said, like figure out like what we can do to help with that issue. So we encourage you as a second start. You already came to this event, you watched the movie, but we also encourage you, we're going to be sending you a follow-up email, which will have our infographic as well as a video of this discussion. We encourage you to share these with others so that they can learn about the topic as well. We also encourage you to commit to one gun safety friendly related action each week to the extent you're able to. Again, coming here is a great way to start. But there's plenty of other things you can do. We've mentioned some, definitely Hanali has mentioned some, but also you can read about the journey of notable people that are kind of related to the gun safety topic. So people like Annie Oakley, and actually Hanali, if you'd go ahead and put those in the chat, that'd be great. Annie Oakley, Jeff Cooper, David Hogg, Teddy Roosevelt, and Lucy Macbeth, Lucy Macbeth, to gain some further insight about the topic. And these are folks that represent all different kind of issues related to the topic of gun safety. So some you know, some you might not know. And we'd ask you to participate in our short survey, which I'm going to post right now. We're actually going to be sending you a survey in the email that we are going to send you. But we'd also love for you to, this survey is different from the one we're going to email you. So if you could take a minute right now, hopefully you can see that survey now. If you can't, let me know. But if you can go ahead and fill out that survey that you're seeing right now on your screen, I'd appreciate it. Let us know how the event is, and you'll receive a different survey in the post-event email that it just covers different questions. Our next Popcorn and Chat event is on energy and the environment. And that is going to be on Saturday, November 21st. That will also involve a movie. But we don't have that one picked out yet. So we're still working on it.
Planet of the Humans.
What was that?
Michael Moore. Michael Moore had a hand in making that too.
Oh, is there another movie that we should know about? You can put it in the chat.
It's called Planet of the Humans. That's about the environment and
Oh, that's great.
environmental, like
Well,
green energy really is like it's what it's claimed to be, like non-polluting and things like that. They reckon it's not. They say it's not, but sometimes to make the materials and to make certain things, you got to kill other things, and that's not good.
It's great. We'll definitely take a look at that and consider it for one of our movies.
You can find it on YouTube.
Excellent. If anybody else has any movies you want to recommend for the energy and the environment, we're still searching for just the right one. So feel free. We may end up picking it. And thank you, Colleen, for sharing that one. Please look for other events, not just our popcorn and chat events, but we have 6 different programs: children's crafting, adult crafting. We have these movie nights. We also have a game night. So we have lots of different programs. Please feel free to check out our other events as well on our website at www.informyourcommunity.org. You can see all our events for the whole year there, and you can sign up for them. If you're in the New York area, where we've just launched our local in-person chapter, IYC NYC. So there's some in-person events you can check out too. We'll be posting those soon. And actually, we have our first event this weekend. That's a children's crafting event. And also, please consider donating. We are a completely volunteer organization, and all of our events, all of our national events online are free. So please do consider donating if you can afford to do so, to help us to keep these events free. Thank you so much for coming here today. Thank you, Hanali, for being a great facilitator for us. And thank you, everybody, for your wonderful contributions and making this such a rich discussion. Have a absolutely wonderful night. If you did have a problem getting onto the video, just stay on for a minute and we'll be able to perhaps walk you through that. Thank you, Dana, for the congrats on the in-person events. Silkwood and Erin Brockovich, those are great movies. Thank you, everybody.
Where in NYC are you doing the in-person events?
It's at Pier 57. I don't know if you know where that is. You can look it up. I think it's
that's at Hudson River.
I'm sorry, say that again. I'll put it in the chat. Pier 57. Hold on. Oh no, you're coming in and out. Pier 57, and those are fronts. The New York chapter events are free. And yes, there are absolutely. I am so glad that you said that. Whoever you are, wait, let me look up Nicholas. Absolutely. Actually, we are right now looking to start chapters across the country. We have some folks that we're already talking to about that. So if you're interested in starting a chapter, for example, in Philly or in any state that you are from or city that you're from, we're happy to have a conversation with you. I'm going to put in the chat the email that you can reach out to if you're interested in getting some more details about the possibilities of starting a chapter. Feel free. Oh no, you're filling out the survey and it disappeared. I'm so sorry. I did that too quickly. I'm sorry. I don't think I can open it up again. But thank you for being willing to fill it out. I appreciate that. So yes, so Nicholas, yeah, absolutely reach out if that's something you're interested in. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. Please let your friends know about our events. We're so grateful to have you here. And if there's any questions you have for us, please feel free to let us know. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Yes, Hudson River. That's right. Thank you. And thank you, Colleen, for joining us from so far away.
Oh, yes. Thank you for having me, even though I'm Australian and I'm not American.
Absolutely. Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Thank you. Come again.
Oh, I've been to America twice. I loved it, actually. I didn't think it was as bad as what people make it out to be on the TV a lot of the time, because of all the cops.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the cops are a bit stricter and stuff like that in America than what they are in Australia. In Australia, they seem very easygoing, but they're probably pussies really compared to American cops. But I don't know. Maybe that's just my perception.
Oftentimes New York City is considered very like unsafe, and there's so much, again, talking about the media and fear, there's so much fear about New York
Oh, it
City.
wasn't as bad as what people made. I mean, there were
It's
a
like
few
one of the
sort
safest
of down and
cities.
out type people, but other than that, I didn't think it was anywhere near as bad as what. There was actually like a lot of people just out shopping and tourists and things like that, but I didn't see that many. I mean, I only saw a few down and out. I didn't really see a lot of gangsters or anything like that. Yeah. So.
Right,
I mean,
exactly, exactly.
becoming
The
gangsters,
the TV shows make it sound much
it wasn't
worse.
obvious. Yeah.
And for the person who asked, and I'm sorry I didn't catch who it was. Oh, and I don't even know. I'm not able to write and talk at the same time. Apparently, Deborah. I'm in New York City, and Hanali's in Tennessee, in
I used to
Nashville.
be in NYC until I moved a year ago.
That's true. Hanali is yes. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate so much your great
May I
I
make
better
a
let you all
suggestion?
go because I've got to go have my lunch. I'm a bit hungry at the moment.
Take care, Colleen.
May I make a
It's
suggestion?
midday here in
Yes.
Australia.
Yeah, next time, is it possible to put the
You
link
take
for your
care too.
event?
Thank
Is
Oh.
you
it
so much.
possible next time to put the link in the chat so it's easy to just navigate, because people, may tend to forget after leaving the event?
Oh,
So if you have it
yes.
in the chat,
Yes, I
you
can
immediately
actually,
could.
let me put it in there. It's in there now. So I don't know who was here that had a difficult time getting, if you're still here, had
I
a
think-
difficult time getting.
Yeah, she's here.
The link
Okay.
for your events, your future events.
Oh, for my
So-
events. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Thank you.
That's actually a great idea.
Mhm.
I can put that in.
It's
Do you
like
want to help?
marketing.
Yeah, I can help whoever was having trouble setting or watching the movie with the link. Let me put that in the chat again. So if you will click on that watch link that I just
Wonderful.
sent in the group chat or the chat box, it should prompt you to put in a passphrase. You will just then copy paste that passphrase.
You can't actually copy and paste the passphrase. It's like partially activated. If you notice, part of it's in blue and the other part isn't. And it won't actually let you just copy and
Mhm.
paste the passphrase. I was able to copy the whole text box and then erase all the stuff around the passphrase.
Mhm.
That's a good
That's
point.
good to
Maybe
know. I think next time we will probably do two different
Really,
texts.
yeah. I had to
Great
put
point.
in mine manually because of that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you were so kind to
Yes.
go through that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Well,
I
we-
was determined.
It
that
was-
is, you are a determined person. By the way, I did thank you for Michelle. I did put the events page in the
Got
chat.
it. Got
Excellent. So definitely check that out. Also, just so you know, I see there's some still stragglers here. We do have our curriculum. We don't mind that at all. We do have our curriculum for our different topics. I'll put that link in the chat too. So you're here for gun safety.
Oh,
but
bless you.
we're here, what we do is we talk about all kinds of different topics, and so we have many of those topics on our website, the curriculum for them. So not just about gun safety, but about different topics. And I can't type and talk at the same time, so I'm going to type that right now. So.com/get informed. So if you go to our website and you go to the get
Stacey, you're a
informed,
sweetheart. You and Hanali are just beautiful.
Thank
so
you.
you'll see that.
Spirit. Oh,
You're
Lord.
very kind. And so you're going to see, if you go to that page, there's about I think it's 18 now, different topics we have there. If you click on them,
Unfortunately,
you'll
it
get the
didn't
whole
open.
curriculum.
It didn't open.
Oh,
I don't know
inform.
why.
Oops, that's because I put, no, it's, yeah, I know why, because I don't know how to spell my own organization. Hold on. I told you I can't type. at
You
the
put
same
you.
time.
I see.
Yeah.
It's a long name.
Stacy. Try that one.
No problem.
Try that one. It'd be nice if I could spell.
Yes, this one
So
worked.
what you'll see there, now that it'll work, is it's about 18 different issues that we've covered. We've actually, by the end of June, we'll have covered over 40 different topics.
Wow.
And we're slowly getting all of the topics on our website. So please feel free to share those, any topics that you feel are interesting. And you can actually find the content of those topics there, but also the infographic. There is a link to the infographic you can share, or you can print and share with people as well. So as well as the past videos, links to the past videos of our events on those topics from different programs.
May I just ask
So
one
check
last
those
question?
out.
How do you get funding
Definitely.
since you do this voluntary? How do you
That
get
is that is a great question. Wait, how fast can I put the donate button in this chat? No, so we're right now we don't have grants yet, although we're always working on those. And right now we're all donation funded. So on the off chance anybody here who can donate, I should put it, we should, Hanali, this is a great point. We should be putting the donate link directly in the chat.
Yes, yes,
Right,
yes,
during the events.
Yeah,
That's-
that would actually help. Yeah. I think
Stacy.
it actually helps. I mean, not everybody has to I guess they don't have to go physically look up the organization and find the link. It is accessible. It's easier for them to help out when they can. So.
I love that people on this call are like,
That's
yes,
just easier, Jana.
you should be doing this. And we haven't thought of that before.
Yeah.
It tells you we really care about the topics. Please do. Please share all you can about the organization. Come to our events. Thank you all for coming. I think we're tapped out of things we wanted to talk about. We're happy to stay on and tell you more about the wonderful things Inform Your Community does. And as a matter of fact, I will put one more website in here. .org/ let's see if I spelled it right before I send. Hold on. .org. Yep. So this one is our programs. Popcorn flavors. Yeah, I don't know, Hanali, that's your job. You're the program director. You're gonna have to talk about.
Yeah, I should really mention that. Make it like a theme. What color are we thinking today, or what type of flavor are we thinking today?
What? Oh, that'd be great at the beginning.
What flavor goes with this topic?
Yeah, or what flavor mood are you in today?
Oh yeah.
I like.
I'm usually the basic, regular popcorn with butter.
Your website is so friendly, user friendly. It's so captivating. The colors, the layout. Who was responsible for that design?
One of our board members. We have one of our board members. Actually, one of our board members. He actually worked at. He had to leave the board, but he was a founding board member, and he actually worked at American Express and Citibank, and did their helped with their platforms.
Excellent.
So he knew his stuff. We were grateful. And then another board member executed. So thank you, Deborah, for coming. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Added a little bit of flavor on the program page.
Yeah, we should. This is great. And then let's see. And anybody else want to share their popcorn flavors? I've like melt caramel over fresh. I didn't even know that was a thing. I did not know that was a thing. I also didn't know strawberry and sour apple were things. So that's.
Heard about caramel. I just
that caramel. That's. I may have to do some exploring of popcorn flavors, and you will have to remember to ask that question, Hanali, at the beginning, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll add that to my list of things.
So thank you. So Deborah asked if we can email everybody for the next event, and we will, in the post-event email, we'll send everybody a post-event email. It will include a link to our events, so you'll be able to see them there. We actually have an event coming up. What is our next event? We have a and you had popcorn tonight. Thank you, Pamela. We had our next event is a game night about grief. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. So that is our next topic. So do come to check that out. We do have a newsletter. We have not sent one out in a hot minute. But we do try to send out an email once a month to our mailing list with the upcoming events. And you remind me to do that again soon. So thank you, Jana, for that. And you can always check out our website as well. And we do advertise through Eventbrite, so it might not come from us, but it might come from Eventbrite. So from either one of us, you'll find out about our post-event email will come from us, but then we also send out our events through Eventbrite. So you may see it there. And I'm so sorry, Deborah, for your loss. It is most certainly a sad topic and definitely trigger warning about going to that. And so definitely trigger warning, depending on how recent that is, you may not want to go, but we do, our philosophy at Inform Your Community is fun first, information second. And we'll say 51% fun, 49% information. So we're going to make grief fun at that event. So you'll have to come to see how we do it. But Maya is our program director for thank you, Jana. Maya is our program director for grief. I'm sorry, not for grief, for the Much to Discuss program, which is our game night program. And she makes it fun. And we've done consent as a game night, and we've done suicide awareness as a game night. So it's a challenge, but we get the job done. So we hope to see you at our future events, everybody. I know. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everybody, for staying on so long. I think this is like a record. I don't think we've had people voluntarily stay on our calls this long ever. So thank you all. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you at future events, and definitely let people know about what we do. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for the work that you're doing and your commitment. It's so needed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great
Thank
evening.
you for coming, and thank you for your kind words. Take care. Love it. Have a great night. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.